just started tonight by sharing this piece by Arnold Schoenberg. He wrote a piece, the name is called Verklärte, and it's based on a poem, and I will read the poem to you after we see the video. This is the first segment. It's about 4 minutes, and I want you to just spend a few seconds sort of imagine, maybe a night like this, and actually you can sort of see the moon, and there are these two people in love, and they're walking in a forest, but the woman, she has a dark secret to confess, and you can hear in the music that there is this feeling of anxiousness and this looming moonlight that just keeps following you. No matter where you walk, the moon is just on you. And so, because I'm a musician, whenever I paint, I always have the music in the headphone, and I paint according to the sound, the flow. So this is the first 4 minutes of it, and I want you to sort of put your mind into the scenario. And actually, I want you to all talk about what the music or what the image might evoke, like any story, any memories that might remind you of. So. What's powerful about visual art and music is that because it's non-verbal. So of course I will read a poem to you as promised, but what do you think the endings of this story may be? Like what his reactions may be?
There was a lot of argument.
Yeah.
A lot of crying.
There was a tension.
Yeah. But then there was a very there was a long dialogue. And there were emotions throughout the dialogue, and there was no anger anymore. So I would say at the end they just figured it out and they will stay together.
There seems to be a rebirth because there's some images of trees at the end.
Yes. Absolutely.
But definitely anger at the beginning.
A lot of intensity.
But a lot of earth and less air, less sky.
Interesting.
More earth and water.
I kind of feel the same way. Like at the very beginning, I felt like she's kind of trapped in the middle of water. She cannot breathe. She's suffering while she's in the middle of agony. But as it goes to the end, looks like she's finding her own way to really like kind of capture whatever. Yeah, like, it goes really well with the music also. That's my understanding.
It's interesting you made, like both of you made that observation with water, because I mean, for me personally, water has always been my fear. So whenever I paint,
I don't know why about me too. I kind of have claustrophobia.
and the thing is like, so that's like, whenever I paint, of course, there are many reasons why we create. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, this is always one subject I always want to explore, like, what makes people become creative. And like, why do we paint? Why do we write? Why do dancers dance? Or like, just any type of creative, there's always a drive behind it. And so for me, whenever I paint, it's also a process of working on something. And because, you know, I had a drowning experience, so of course water always represents something that's quite overwhelmingly powerful to me. So there's always this wanting to overcome fears. And so I choose water a lot in, you know, when the subject is, you know, it's challenging for me. Just out of curiosity, any thought that came to your mind while listening to this, or the images you saw?
Strong and passionate.
It's a very passionate piece, isn't it?
Heartfelt.
And did it remind you of like maybe any story novels or that you read that sort of resemble, or like?
I don't know if it's a novel, but certainly I felt like themes of like water and like a goddess of perhaps like the night or I feel like a lot of times with like the moon, it's a feminine energy, and I don't know. I guess I just felt a lot of femininity, a lot of softness.
Yeah, I thought about the constellations, and it actually brought back a memory of my childhood, because I thought of mythology, Greek mythology, and the stars and the female. And when I was 12, I took a very special walk with my father on the island of Poros in Greece. And from a certain point, you could see the shape of the island in the shape of a female body. But on that walk, he taught me the stars, because he was a navigator. So he was the constellations, and so it kind of brought back that memory.
That's really wonderful. Yeah. Well, actually, out of curiosity, does any of you know this poem?
No.
Good. That's actually perfect. So can any of you guess what the secret might be? Like, why is she?
She's a werewolf.
Like, she's tormented, and there's something she has to confess. She has to tell him. So the secret, basically, she's carrying a child, fathered by someone else. And so now the next segment, the video is actually a lot longer. It's close to 17 minutes. So you can actually just sink in, relax. If you're going to sit down, you're very welcome to do so. So I won't give away, but from looking at the image, I want you to sort of journey through how she finally confessed the truth to him. And I actually want you to guess how his response might be according to this. So this is the second video segment. So the title is called the Verklartenach. The translation is called Transfigure Night. And I actually played this piece a few years ago, and it's an arrangement of 6 string instruments, 2 violins, 4 violins, 2 violins, 2 cellos, 2 violas. And I had this unbelievably lucky experience when I visited Paris for the first time 2 years ago. Actually, I did Airbnb with Jean Noël's son, and he has this amazing apartment. And you know, I visited all the big museums and galleries, and on the last day, my flight got canceled, and that was the best thing that has ever happened, because then John Noël told me that, oh, you have to visit the Jewish Quarter. And I went there, and I didn't know that it was this amazing Jewish museum, and they had this exhibit of Arnold Schoenberg's paintings. So I didn't realize that not only he's such an inventive musician, he also, you know, he paints. And then that was just an incredible experience because I was surrounded by all these self-portraits, and all these self-portraits are haunting. Like you will see images of him with the dark circles, and the deeper he went into the state of you can feel that person what he was going through, and sometimes the color of eyes will change, and then they also arrange the exhibit such a way they actually have the recording of him conducting this piece. And so I literally felt like I was transported into his own world, surrounded by his conducting his music, and then surrounded by his painting. And that was just one of the most unbelievable experiences I had. So in a way, that sort of inspired me to put this together. So here's his poem. Two people are walking through a bare, cold wood. The moon keeps pace with them and draws their gaze. The moon moves along above tall oak trees. There's no wisp of cloud to obscure the radiance to which the black jacket tips reach up. A woman's voice speaks. I'm carrying a child, and not by you. I'm walking here with you in a state of sin. I have offended grievously against myself. I despaired of happiness, and yet I still felt a grievous longing for life's fullness, for mother's joys and duties. And so I sinned. And so I yield, shuddering my sex to the embrace of a stranger. And even though myself blessed, now life has taken its revenge, and I have met you. She walks on, stumbling. She looks up. The moon keeps pace. Her dark gaze drowns in the light. A man's voice speaks. Do not let the child you have conceived be a burden on your soul. Look how brightly the universe shines. Splendor falls on everything around. You are voyaging with me on a cold sea. But there is the glow of an inner warmth from you in me, from me in you. The warmth will transfigure the stranger's child, and you bear it me, begot by me. You have transfused me with splendor. You have made a child of me. He puts an arm about her strong hips. Their breath embrace in the air. Two people walk on through the high, bright night. This is and I chose this solo piece. It's from the cello suite, and there is this speculations between the musicians because compared to his more complex and more mature piece, this one is simpler. And so some people said that actually it was composed by his wife, Anna Magdalena. So personally, I like this piece a lot because of the simplicity. And even before I heard the stories about it's possibly composed by Anna Magdalena rather than Bach, there's this personal connection because although it's simple, there's a sort of a melancholy in this simplicity, a purity. And so I sort of run away with this idea of it's actually written by her, and it's her way of communicating to her husband, something that was impossible to communicate in words. And so in a way it's safer to hide it in music. So this is the second cello suite, the prelude. So I'm going to tune one more time. going to play. It's by Mieczysław, if I pronounce it correctly. Mieczysław Weinberg. So the reason I cannot pronounce that is he's a composer of Polish Jewish composer that lived during the Soviet time, and he had to escape Poland for obvious reasons. And actually, all his relatives that didn't manage to escape, they all perished during the Holocaust. So he moved to Moscow, and he was working closely with Shostakovich. And actually, I think it's a shame that outside of Russia, he's not as well known. But for them, he's considered one of the 3 best composers. And the reason our discovering was actually kind of cute. Actually, it's just one of those days I was feeling kind of down and kind of sad, and I called my best friend from Europe, and he sent me this YouTube video clip, and I clicked on it. It's "We Needed Proof," but the Russian "We Needed Proof." And I fell in love with it, and I have to tell you, in my opinion, it's better.